Good morning, members of the library board and staff. It's my pleasure to open this meeting for Tuesday, May 27th for the Middlesex County Library Board. And I'm going to call this meeting to order, and I'm going to ask Lindsay to read our acknowledgement.
We acknowledge that the land we stand upon today is the traditional territory of the Attawandaron, Anishinaabeg, Haudenosaunee, and Lenape-Wauk peoples, who have long-standing relationships to the land, water, and region of southwestern Ontario. The local First Nation communities of this area include Chippewas of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames First Nation, and Munsee Delaware Nation. We acknowledge the treaties that are specific to this area: Treaty 2, McKee Purchase; Treaty 3, Between the Lakes Purchase; Treaty 6, London Township Purchase; Treaty 21, Longwoods Purchase; and Treaty 29, Huron Tract Purchase. We value the significant contributions both in the past and the present of local and regional First Nations of Turtle Island. We acknowledge historic and ongoing injustices that Indigenous peoples endure in Canada, and we affirm our commitment to honoring Indigenous voices, nations, and cultures, and to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect. Well, thank you. Always a pleasure to come here and share some highlights, the programs and services the Early On team is providing across the county. So today I'm going to take a look back at 2024, just some highlights, and then step ahead and share some exciting initiatives that we have planned for 2025. If you want to do the next slide. So it's just an overview of the things I'm going to talk about, share just some of the high-level highlights from last year in terms of program impact. Some key stats from 2024. We did a caregiver feedback survey, so I'll talk a little bit about that. Some initiatives that supported the Child Care and Early Years Plan, and also some new initiatives coming in 2025. Next slide. So in 2024, we added one new indoor location at River Heights, so that brings us to a total of 10 regular indoor locations. We also run seasonal outdoor programs in Lucan, Dorchester, Thorndale, and Coldstream, and occasional programs in Strathroy. Additional pop-up programs that we offered in 2024 were in Elsa Craig, Kilworth, and Newberry. Next slide. We saw substantial growth in 2024, offering over 1,070 in-person programs, up from 948 the previous year. Our weekly programming hours increased to approximately 48 hours weekly. We added a number of new special programs: Zoom Beanie, Infant Massage, Sensory Seekers, and Busy Bees, each designed to support different areas of early development. Slide. Program reach. Our reach has also expanded significantly. Almost 3,000 unique children and over 2,400 caregivers participated in our programs, which is an impressive increase from 2023. The total number of child and caregiver visits also grew by several thousand. Next slide. So we continue to support access to early on programming by offering virtual opportunities. In 2024, we offered 14 virtual sessions. We also connected over 30 families to our MI Friends program, which is a self-directed program that promotes social emotional well-being for children 3 to 8 years of age. We also facilitated over 600 connections, and that's probably an underestimate. Connections to information, programs, or services, with most of the inquiries from caregivers centered around early development, parenting, and safety. Safety, an example would be car seat safety. And those connections are typically done either in person, over the phone, or by email.
So looking ahead, our work aligns closely with the 2024-2028 childcare and earlier service system plan, which I would have presented back in 2024 about. So this year we are supporting key initiatives under each of the plan's 5 priorities, that being accessibility, inclusion, quality, collaboration, and backbone. Okay, so in terms of accessibility, in 2024, we continue to improve accessibility by expanding our program hours and our formats. So we offered 16 in-person sessions, whether those be in the evening or on Saturday, along with 13 virtual sessions, which helps us better reach families with non-traditional schedules. Our kindergarten social program grew from just 1 session in 2023 to 5 in 2024. Giving working families more opportunities to connect with school transition supports. Those programs are also offered in the evening, so to support non-traditional, those that are working through the day. To meet growing demand, we increased our staffing from 3.5 to 4 full-time educators and added a casual staff member. This staffing boost allowed us to increase weekly in-person programming hours from 41 in 2023 to 48 hours in 2024, which contributed to a notable rise in program visits. Also, in terms of accessibility, the opening of River Heights allowed us to expand access for families in that community. And thanks to the special funding from the province of Ontario, we introduced new sensory light spaces and expanded programming focused on supporting children's social and emotional development. Slide. In terms of inclusion, in 2024, we took important steps to better understand and support the diverse needs of families in our community. We added a new demographic question to the early on registration form. This data helped ensure that our services are inclusive and equitable, and that our programming is tailored to meet the needs of all populations we serve. We are also using insights from our caregiver satisfaction survey to identify gaps and improve supports for our priority populations. And then another meaningful partnership was with the Period Equity Project. Through this collaboration, we're helping to remove barriers by providing menstrual products to caregivers facing financial challenges or limited access. Slide. Okay, so in 2024, a comprehensive compensation review was completed, looking at both market comparisons and internal equity. And this led to wage adjustments that helped ensure competitive compensation for our educators. In addition, all of our educators received training in early childhood development screening. This not only builds staff capacity, but it also has supported system-wide improvements in ensuring consistent, high-quality screening services are available across the county. I'll talk more about that in a couple of slides. In 2024, we continued to strengthen our connections with community partners to enhance the range of supports available to families during early on programs. So in 2024 has led to a lot of new partnerships here in 2025. We have partnered with TVCC, Thames Valley Children's Center, physiotherapy, also TVCC Tyke Talk, which would be your speech language, Western Tyke Talk, Vanier, as well as LHSC virtual team. One that I have missed in that list is also dental health with Middlesex London Health Unit. So as part of our commitment to continuous improvement, we've implemented several key backbone initiatives in 2024. We conducted a caregiver satisfaction survey. We didn't do that in 2023 because we were doing the childcare and early years planning process, but we did do that again, did that in 2022, and we'll continue to do this each year. We shared those results with our families. The feedback we received played a role in shaping our operational and program planning for 2025. And we always ensure that we include evaluation as part of any new early on program. Okay, next slide. So caregiver feedback, we allowed all of our families to participate in our caregiver feedback survey. We had a total of 98 caregivers participate. The results were very overwhelming. 98% felt very welcome. 95% felt supported in their parenting role. 93% said our staff are both knowledgeable and respectful. Next slide. So why do families attend? In summary, caregivers attend for many reasons, but the top ones include helping their children interact with each other, accessing age-appropriate activities, and I will probably add the ability to interact with very messy material that they don't have to worry about at home, and finding support for parenting and social connection. What do families value? They really value the welcoming environment, the safe and engaging spaces, access to resources, and the consistency our programs offer. A lot of testimonials. There's a couple there, but they really have highlighted the emotional and practical impact our programs have had, as well as the impact our staff have had on families. So in terms of next steps, caregivers would like to see more program times, including evenings and weekends, as well as more outdoor programming. There's also ongoing interest in support for the transition to school, something we're continuing to develop. Okay, so just a quick look, and I'll go a little bit in more detail to each of these. So some exciting developments for 2025. We are expanding non-traditional programming hours, looking to enhance our early developmental screening. We're launching 2 lending kit initiatives, one focused on school readiness and one focused on social emotional well-being. We're expanding or growing in the area of Indigenous programming. And we're looking to roll out a new Keon digital sign-in system, which I will speak to later as well. So, okay. In terms of non-traditional hours, so we continue to look for ways to be able to balance out our daily program schedule, our daily drop-in schedule, but as well layer in some evening and Saturday programs. So for this year, we're expanding our non-traditional hours to 18 Saturday programs. And we also increased our number of Kinder Connect programs. They are in the evening. We went from 5 last year to 8 this year. We're also planning evening virtual opportunities, as well as 3 upcoming Indigenous initiatives that will also be in the evening. Next slide. So early developmental screening, I've talked a little bit about this in previous presentations, but we have certainly expanded our support in this area. This year, we're looking to do 4 early developmental screening clinics, 1 each quarter. And so we use a tool called the Ages and Stages questionnaire. It's a comprehensive validated screening tool that looks at several domains of early development. There's also a second questionnaire that focuses solely on social emotional well-being. The whole team has been trained in using this tool. We do have one staff, our senior facilitator, who really takes the lead, though, in going out to all of our program locations during our play and learns and our baby times to offer the screening support. So that way the facilitator, the original facilitator, can focus on other roles as part of the program. So we are running one right now in May. We also offered another one in February, and we'll do one in the fall and one in the winter. With the results of the tool, we have conversations with the family about any concerns that might be presenting. If they fall, and I maybe mentioned this in the last program or the last session, if they fall in the gray, there's some area of concern. So the facilitators will provide some information, some strategies to consider at home, and suggest to them that they follow up. If it falls in the black, typically that warrants a referral, and typically we make those referrals to Tyke Talk, it may be to Vanier or other service agencies. The other thing that I think is really interesting, and this came up on our team meeting on Friday, is information is not only used to support the families and what they can do at home or facilitating a referral to a center or to an agency, they also make changes to their programming. So for example, if what's been seen lately is some concerns in gross motor development, And so in addition to be sending home information for families to consider at home or strategies, they're also starting to implement more gross motor activities into programming. So that way children, whether have concern or not, are being able to practice those skills within our early on programs. Next slide. I'm a bit behind. So if you can go to the next slide. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so here's a look at some key statistics from our Q1 Early Developmental Screening Initiative. So in total, so not only through those developmental screening clinics that happen quarterly, we also encourage all the early on facilitators to talk about developmental screening as part of their baby time programs, as well as all of our school readiness programs incorporated an early developmental screening component. So in total, we had 131 screens completed with 27 identified with at least one area of developmental concern. All of those families received support. That's very important to us. They either were provided with tailored information, strategies to consider at home, or we facilitated connections to appropriate local services. Slide. Okay, so you've heard me talk lots about our Ready, Set, Learn program, which is the 4-week school readiness program that we offer. We continue to offer that program, and that program continues to have wait lists. This year we offered it 6 times, and each of those programs did have a wait list. We can only take 10 children. We also, as I've mentioned, we expanded our school readiness support by offering our Kinder Connect programs, but those also reach capacity. So we started to explore some additional ways that we can support families with school transition. So we developed a Ready, Set, Learn lending kit, and in there has various activities to support children at home in developing skills around color recognition, number recognition, letter recognition, as well as sequencing. We started with 3 just as a pilot, and it blew up, and there's a lot of interest. So we now have expanded to 12 kits, and we've had 71 families borrow or request a kit so far. Some of these families have been participating in our Kinder Connect program. Some have not have had that even opportunity. So this has been a great addition to our school transition programming. Okay, so in the Ready, Set, Learn lending kits, as I mentioned, there's color, number, letter, and sequencing with elements of fine motor. What it does not include is any support around social emotional well-being. And we know in conversations with teachers that that is the #1 needed area in terms of helping children transition to school. So now what we're working on with support from a student that we have this summer is we're looking to develop what we're calling self kits. So social emotional learning for family kits. And what those will be is an extension to our Ready, Set, Learn kits. So families can, if they're struggling with social emotional well-being, they can also lend out that kit as well. Stepping back in terms of the kits, there's a workbook, as well as in the kit is a number of different materials that would support the family in implementing those activities at home. Most of the activities or the materials are returned, our team cleans them, and then they're sent off to another family. Some materials, we just let them keep, like Play-Doh or bamboo skewers or things like that. So the self kits will also include books. That's the other thing that's integral to our Ready, Set, Learn lending kits, but include books, materials, and activities that will help support social emotional skills that are needed for a successful school transition. Indigenous programming. This is exciting. We've started to have some really great conversations with educators from Chippewa of the Tents. Had a beautiful meeting that lasted well over 2.5 hours and walked away with a whole list of different Indigenous programming ideas that we can consider in the county. We are starting with 3 events this summer, one in June, one in July, and one in August. We are partnering with an educator. Her name is Amanda from Chippewa. She's going to come out and help co-facilitate a program in the county in Strathroy. It will be targeted towards families who do identify as Indigenous, whether they live in the county or one of the neighboring First Nation communities. We're also exploring some other opportunities, a number of food literacy opportunities. Right now, we're just exploring some funding opportunities that would be able to allow for us to implement those in the fall. So stay tuned. Hopefully I can share that at the next meeting. As well, because we have these great connections with colleagues at the Chippewa of the Thames, we're looking at integrating some Indigenous language and culture into our existing Play and Learn programs. Next slide. And lastly, digital system, Keon. So I mentioned this at our last meeting as well. We will be rolling out Keon, which is a digital system that will allow for families to sign in digitally, as well as a means to register program. Just a reminder, right now we use paper and pen, and then our educators input that information into an Excel document. With this particular system, families will be able to show up with their QR code or their fob, which has the QR code embedded in it, and then just with the scanner sign in, and then that information will go right into the digital system. So Strathroy is part of the soft launch alongside 2 family centers in London. We just started promoting this launch yesterday, and effectively next week, we're going to roll it out in Strathroy. And then lessons are supposed to be learned, and then we'll roll out to the rest of the county come the fall. Yeah. And that is it.
Thank you, Nadine. It was quite a detailed report. I just got one question before I open it up for questions, but on page 7, and I understand from Lindsay, the funding yearly for the new sensory light space created, is that yearly? Or is that that's not a one-shot deal, right? That's
The mental health funding?
Yeah.
It was over 3 years.
Okay.
We are now in the 3rd year, so we have received $7,500 for this year. We are still working on a plan as to how to utilize those dollars, but yes, after this 3 years, I'm not sure what's going to happen after that.
Thank you. Any questions? Go ahead, Warden.
Thank you. Just further to your question, is this program very successful? And if it is it something that if we don't get funding that we would try to carry on anyways? Or what's the success of this program?
Are you referring to the sensory rooms?
Yes.
Yes, they are very successful. Yeah, they are. Last year we did, I can't remember the number we did. This year we are paring them down a little bit, only because it's a lot of work to set up and take down. So we set it up. River Heights and Ilderton have their own sensory room. And those are used as part of regular programming on a regular basis. We don't have the space in Strathroy right now to be able to have a permanent location for a sensory room. So we do it as a setup takedown. It takes a couple hours to set that up. And then after what we try to do is book off the space in Strathroy, the back programming room, for several days. So that way it's up, families can utilize it, and it's a good use of staff time. So our next one is in June. We're running it from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I'm trying to keep it open as much as possible for families to drop into that program. Highly successful, yes. So that is that one Indigenous program that we're doing in June actually is on the Wednesday evening after we set it up, and that's because Chippewa of the Thames had heard about the success of the program and really wanted to partner with it. So that particular program is going to be in the sensory space, as well as some messy sensory play. Yeah.
Sorry. Any other questions with respect to this report? Do you want to enlighten us on it, or is it just private?
Yeah.
No, I just wonder what your question was. That's all. It's, yeah. Yeah, so I know what we're talking about. That's all.
Oh, sorry. I just asked Nadine if there was extra funding for the programs. And what was the second thing I asked you, Nadine? I forgot.
You asked me about early developmental screening
Yes,
and if this was a duplication of any
Right.
service.
exactly. If
In the
the
county.
screening was a duplication, whether there were other agencies still doing it also, or whether this something just we were handling.
Thank you, Mary. Jane.
So to answer your question, so no, it is not a duplication of service. It actually is really enhancing early developmental screening in the county. The only other agency, I mean, certainly licensed childcares would be involved in early developmental screening. In fact, however, there's a whole other project on the side that we are looking at enhancing that as well. But in terms of community access, the only other agency that would be involved in this would be Thames Valley Children's Center Smart Start Hub. And in conversations with TVCC Smart Start Hub, Karen is their manager is actually on one of our committees, and she said, absolutely, this is not a duplication of service. In fact, the work that you're doing is helping to reduce the workload on my team. So by us doing screening in the community and identifying those that are in the white or the gray, so no risk or low risk, we can work with those families to either validate that they're doing okay, or if you have low concerns, how we can support them. Then versus them going to TVCC and then, really adding to their workload, then when we identify someone who has multiple concerns, we can then refer them to Smart Start Hub, and then they can deal with those more complex cases. So it's working out quite nice. There's actually been a really good synergy between our programming and theirs. So there is more work for us to do in developing more of a solidified care pathway. We want to work together with Smart Start Hub. They have a desire to create a list of supports and programs and resources that they can provide families as they get identified. We share the same desire to do that. So we're going to work together on creating sort of a care pathway plan that what we can provide families while they're waiting for service.
I don't know if you need that. I speak loud enough, but anyway, I'll use it. I think right now the process is they're not caught till they're in school. So I'm told about 6 years of age. So the earlier we can catch these, delays or whatever they are, the much better for the child for sure. And the parents too. I'm sure it's frustrating. So kudos to the team for that. And
Well, and even on that, something like autism supports, by a certain age, don't quote me on this, they actually become unavailable. And so the earlier you can diagnose someone with autism or along the spectrum, the better, because I want to say by the age of 8, all of those resources are no longer available for those. So yeah, the sooner the better. Yeah, we don't want to send them off to school with, if we can have them go off to school prepared, that is going to be the better option. Yes.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. I never thought of that, and I appreciate the question, but I better appreciate the answer. So it's nice to know. So it wasn't, I think if we share all the knowledge, then we're better for it. So thank you very much. Yeah, well, that's advantage, and you're on top of everything. So thank you. Just any other questions then at all for Nadine? If not, then I look for a motion, a mover and seconder that the Middlesex early on update be received for information. Moved by Chair McMillan, second by Ruth. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Now we'll move on to our action items. And thank you, Nadine. That was a good report. Action items, Middlesex County Library Strategic Plan 2025 to 2029. And this is a report from Lindsay Brock, Director of Library Services, CEO. And if we go through it in detail now, I'd look for any questions that you've got as we move through instead of coming back to them. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yes, coming back to you with a draft plan for your feedback and recommendations. So the report before you just kind of provides that background, a reminder of how we got here today. So starting back last September and October, we did a bit of a literature review. You had an opportunity to share thoughts or, ideas about what we should be focusing on, or, some hot topics and things like that. At our staff development day in November, library staff, there was a great amount of engagement on our existing strategic plan. We did a bit of a SWOT exercise to figure out, what we've been doing well, what makes sense of our previous plan, and how we can improve things and move forward with our new strategic plan. And then I brought that information back to the board in December at our virtual meeting there. And then this year, so in January, we had our community survey, really well received. We had over 1,600 community members participate and share amazing feedback that we are still analyzing, right? I'm still wanting to go back into it and create some branch profiles and help really establish some priorities at the branch level. So that was fantastic engagement. Came back to the March meeting with that engagement summary report. I'm sorry if I start coughing. Fighting a bit of a summer cold. And the board provided feedback and approval of the proposed strategic priorities that were in that presentation. So there were 3 priorities that staff identified. So following direction from you at that March board meeting, I worked with staff to develop the attached draft text. So that's the first attachment, which of course, when I was reviewing it today, I already caught a mistake of the dates attached to the strategic plan. So we have the draft text and then just, kind of a rough formatted version, made it look a little bit prettier, something that I worked on to help you show how it could be structured and how it could be published. So this draft plan has been informed by a comprehensive process of research, collaboration, and engagement. The work undertaken has helped to shape the aims and identify key priorities for Middlesex County Library. We reworked vision and mission statements and included values that help outline what we believe and why we exist. In our previous strategic plan, we didn't have that section of values. And I think those terms and phrases will really be helpful for staff when they're creating programming and looking at new services and new projects that they want to work on, that they can really connect their work to those value statements. The proposed strategic plan identifies our areas of focus for the next 5 years, aligning with community needs and areas where we can deliver value. So, today, just looking for that feedback and suggestions, if there is language that stands out as not really aligning with your vision, if there are anything that's missed, then we can go back and make those changes and come back to the June meeting. And as well, over the summer, our work will include communicating the plan to staff once it gets your final approval, incorporating those strategic priorities into our planning work, and developing a mechanism for updating the board on the plan's overall progress. So giving those regular updates so you can see how our work and projects align with this document. So if we want to move to, we could just go through it on that. So the first attachment is just the draft text because it's a little bit easier to see, but we can go through this presentation. Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, if you want to go to the next page. So the plan starts off with with a letter to the community from our board chair, which speaks to the board's vision and how they want to see this document rolled out. So it is with great pride and optimism that I present Middlesex County Library Strategic Plan for 2025 to 2029, a forward-looking, values-driven vision that will guide our work over the next 5 years. This plan is more than a roadmap. It is a reflection of the people, values, and aspirations that shape the communities of Middlesex County. Libraries have always been about more than books. They are places where people connect, learn, and belong. In a time of change, uncertainty, and growing complexity, our library system continues to serve as a trusted, inclusive, and joyful space, one that welcomes all, respects all, and supports all. Throughout our planning process, we've taken the time to listen. We've heard from residents of all ages and backgrounds, from young learners discovering the world through story time, to seniors seeking connection and community, to newcomers exploring resources in a new country. We've heard from parents, educators, local leaders, and partner organizations. Through surveys, conversations, and community and staff input, a powerful message emerged. The library is essential and its role is evolving. Our strategic plan responds to that call with 3 key priorities: create exceptional experiences, expand our reach, and support lifelong learning. We are doubling down on what matters most, making every library visit, whether in person or online, a meaningful and welcoming experience, reaching beyond our walls to connect with more people through greater outreach, communication, and collaboration, supporting learning, curiosity, and future readiness for all ages and stages of life. As chair of the library board, I want to acknowledge the extraordinary work of our staff and the passion of everyone who helped shape this plan. I also want to thank you, our community, for continuing to believe in the power of your public library. We're excited about what lies ahead. This is your library, your future, and your plan. Let's build it together. And I was reading that in Jim's voice, obviously. So any comments or feedback or questions? I think I'm missing a little punctuation perhaps there in some of those points, but I'll be going back over that with a fine-tooth comb. So then next we have reworked vision and mission. So right now, if you look on our website, you can see that we have a mission statement and a mandate. So the mission statement: informing, enriching, and connecting Middlesex County. That's been with us for many years. That was our mission when I started the library, so it predates me. And then the mandate statement, we tweaked it a bit with our last strategic plan. So it currently reads: to provide a vibrant community space that encourages people to gain knowledge, build relationships, be creative, and enhance their lives. So coming into this process, wanted to create some new messages. So we have our vision as Middlesex County Library is a thriving, connected community hub where everyone belongs and where curiosity, discovery, and opportunity are available to all. Really wanted to bring out that community hub message because it's something that we've worked so hard on, really for the past 10 years or so, and it is ever evolving. There's still more work to be done. So we wanted to center that in our vision. And then under our mission, to serve as a welcoming and essential resource that supports learning, celebrates community, and ensures equitable access to knowledge, resources, and the joy of discovery. Next page there has our values. So like I said, this is a new addition, something that we haven't had in our previous strategic plan. And these words really came from the survey results, from that engagement with staff, and as well our review of other strategic plans from other libraries. There were just some really great ideas that we pulled out of all of those 3 sources, and felt that it would be helpful to include this page, include this information, and have kind of those definitions, because then again, it helps guide the work of our staff and ensures that just clarifies what our values are and why we do what we do. So we included equitable access. We break down barriers so everyone can benefit from our resources and services. Belonging. We foster a sense of inclusion where all community members feel seen, heard, and valued. Community-oriented. We design services and programs that reflect local needs and strengths. Welcoming. We create safe and inclusive spaces that invite curiosity and exploration. Intellectual freedom, we uphold the right to read, think, and explore freely. Supportive, we meet people where they are and help them grow. Essential, we are a cornerstone of civic life, supporting learning, connection, and opportunity. Engaging, we create dynamic, relevant experiences that invite participation and inspire. Joy of discovery, we celebrate curiosity, creativity, and lifelong learning. And finally, future readiness, we help our communities adapt, grow, and thrive. So then the next 3 pages are those strategic priorities that we talked about back at the March meeting that seem to align with your vision for Middlesex County Library. So our first strategic priority being create exceptional experiences. What is our goal? To make every interaction with the library, physical or digital, meaningful, helpful, and empowering. And then this is, again, a little bit of a different structure than our previous strat plan. We wanted kind of more action statements that that again can help us align our work with these priorities. So what will we do? We'll provide access to both traditional and digital services and programs to enhance service delivery. We'll assess policies and procedures to address and ease barriers to access, provide support and resources to library staff to maintain high customer service standards, and make space for joy, creativity, and curiosity in our collections and events. So I think a lot of the feedback that we got from the public was, about experiencing great customer service. So we wanted to recognize that. We're definitely not starting from scratch, right? We don't need to there aren't any major deficiencies that we need to fix in our customer service strategy. So I think we wanted to communicate that when we say we maintain existing high customer standards, and we continue to make it a priority and always looking for those opportunities to improve and enhance the service that we're delivering. And a big part of that over the next, really the year and a half is going to be continuing to assess our policies and procedures and ensure, what sort of language are we using? What changes do we need to make? We can think about this when we come back, I think in the fall, and talk about, fines and those sorts of things. So all of that comes together to help guide those exceptional experiences that we want people to have in our branches. Next priority is expand our reach. So we heard a lot about communication, about marketing and promotion, but we wanted to expand our reach helps us address those topics, those challenges, but also helps us talk about outreach and connecting with community groups. So our goal within Expand Our Reach is bring the library to more people in more ways, physically, virtually, and socially. And what we'll do, strengthen community partnerships with schools, Indigenous communities, and local organizations. Again, these are, we have a lot of partnerships. We are doing a lot of this work, but as Nadine just talked about with our partnerships with Chippewas of the Thames, there are a lot of different opportunities and new projects that we want to highlight and that align really well with this priority. Collaborate and partner with local organizations to support community well-being. Further develop the library's community hub model, supporting activities that position the library as an active presence in the community, and strengthen our communications to build greater awareness, trust, and visibility. And then finally, our third strategic priority, support lifelong learning. We didn't want that, literacy piece and, the work that our staff do, connecting people with accurate, relevant information. We wanted to prioritize that as well. So our goal here is to foster a culture of continuous learning for all ages. And what we'll do, offer programs for all ages related to all forms of literacy, including reading information, cultural, digital, and physical literacy. Facilitate technology access and training to educate and improve digital literacy. Provide spaces and opportunities to support innovation and creativity. And again, we had a number of comments, people asking for maker spaces in different branches and looking for that technology that they might see in one area of the county and not in another. So, and also talking about how our spaces are being used and what opportunities might be there. And then finally, encourage dialogue, critical thinking, and community-led knowledge sharing. And then the last page, so this is a page that I do need to tweak the graphic of the map. I like the map. We've used it in different ways, but there's two communities missing just because this graphic was used primarily with Nadine's work with the Tales and Trails project. So it doesn't show Coldstream or Melbourne. And then it has Kamoka Kilworth, which should just be Kamoka for our purposes. So this is a page that, again, I did this. I am not an expert, but it does need some tweaking to make it more attractive and fix those things on the map. But a bit of a statement there. Let's build a future together. We want your ideas, your voice, and your dreams for the future. Your library is essential, and so are you. And then provide those opportunities for people to give that feedback. So our headquarters phone number, our librarian email inbox, and then a link to our website, and then social media links there at the bottom.
Thank you, Lindsay. Are you out of breath?
Just about, sorry.
Okay, I did want to, Lindsay, go through this in detail because it, you know, we've all read it, but I think it's a job well done. Honestly, but I appreciate the staff put all the input into it, and we just get to either prove it or tweak it a little bit. And that's, you know, previously we've all done them. The ones I've always been involved with were full day sessions where you go through and try to, you know, reinvent the wheel. But there's a lot of, but there's also a lot of new material in here that wasn't in our original. And I think it's a job well done, but I just want to comment on staff for having that and the effort put into it. But I'm going to open up for any comments or questions or changes. Ruth?
I just have a comment through the chair, Lindsay. I thought this was fabulous. I loved the language in it. I loved the inclusion ideas, the joy, the curiosity, all of those concepts. So it's a great job. Thank you.
I'll go to Brad next.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Yeah, to Lindsay, I think it's really great what you've done here, especially under the 3 priorities. It's more detailed than before, and it makes it, I don't call it an easy read, but of course could feel confident that they could go to the library if they haven't been there and join up and be part of the groups. So well done, I think.
Any other questions or comments then? And then, seeing none, I would like that mover and seconder, the Middlesex County Library Strategic Plan 2025 to 2029 report received for information, and the Middlesex County Library Strategic Plan 2025 to 2029 be adopted. Mover and seconder. Moved by Ruth, seconded by Mary Gay. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to correspondence and information items, and I'll read these out. And if you've got any questions, we'll move to get them answered. But under 6A, system circulation, 2025 back to 2024. 6B, systems internet, 2025 back to 24. Next is library activity report. There's a report from Lindsay Brock, and I'll get Lindsay to comment on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just drawing attention to a few things. Rebecca and Marcy may not want to remember the AOD desk audit because it was mostly their work, but they were tasked with the project. The county was selected for an AODA desk audit by the Ministry of Seniors and Accessibility. And so they provided, you know, kind of the categories that they needed information from the library about. Our information was mostly about our service desks, the outdoor play spaces that are in Ilderton and Thorndale. So Nadine provided all of that information, and staff training. So it was a good exercise. Another reminder of what we should be prioritizing when we're looking at our spaces. So really good timing to think about this while working on the strategic plan. Facility updates. So we were experiencing some plumbing issues. Those have been ongoing for most of the year, but we got an update on Friday that the toilets have been fixed at the Melbourne branch. So we are reopening today. And it seemed like there was kind of an underlying issue, old pipes that has been addressed. So we're appreciative of the building owners and the municipality and all the work that they've done there. And then a good news project that we're working with North Middlesex on is installing a water bottle filling station there in the shared services building. So it will be like outside of the library in the vestibule area, I think. And the patrons are already looking forward to it because it's going to be a hot summer, and kids are always coming in and out looking for water. So it'll be a great project that we are going to be working with the municipality on and sharing costs on for that. I was invited to participate in the Strathroy-Caradoc stakeholder consultation on their customer service strategy. So provide feedback on like customer service experiences as a community partner, and learn. They just launched their new website, so they're working on a whole strategy behind this. So I think there may be opportunities moving forward for the library branches in Strathroy-Caradoc to help support the municipality in this work. So maybe more information to come. Meeting that I attended there. I was happy to attend the Middlesex Center Municipal Office Open House last week. Beautiful building. It was great to see inside of it. And like I said, Coldstream staff, they've had that front row seat there watching the progress across the parking lot. So Leslie and the supervisor really appreciated getting to see inside. Young Canada Works, so we were successful in our application for that grant again this year. So we're in the process of hiring a summer student who will have this contract position from June 9th until August 22nd, and they'll be supporting our summer at the library programming. And yeah, we really see them especially supporting our basic branches that are single staffed and, you know, can be challenging to run programming there in the summer. So we're looking forward to having an extra set of hands around. Some different kind of past lending programs that we're doing. So Nadine is working on our pool pass lending programs. This is new for us this year. We're modeling it after a program that Huron County Library has done in the past. So Nadine has reached out to the 4 municipalities with pools, and they're kind of in different stages of coming on board. And we'll likely be able to give probably a final a bit of a report on this as a pilot in September to see how it goes, but we're asking if the municipalities would be interested in lending family passes to the pool for the summer. You know, it would be like a 3 or 4 day lending period. Probably it would be only at those branches where they have a pool in the community. Again, just to address those cost barriers and help families out over the summer. So we're excited to be working on that. Also lending Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority parking passes from Delaware, Glencoe, Melbourne, Mount Bridges, and Wardsville. Middlesex Family Connections user survey. I can't remember. I don't think that was mentioned in Nadine's presentation, but so again, this is a project that Nadine manages. It's an online resource that provides families with a one-stop site for information on local family-centered services, and staffers are doing a survey to help understand user experiences and where improvements can be made. And so that survey closes in the middle of June. Tails and Trails, I think I included more information on the spring installations. And one of our summer students, Emily, she's going to be helping out a lot with that project as well over the summer, and also getting more branch involvement so that they are involved with the changeover of content, and that we're collaborating with them. May 30th, so this Friday, it's going to be busy at our branches for the PA Day. There's a list of a few of our programs that will be running, a wide variety. And then we've got a couple of used book sales that are always very popular. Especially at the Strathroy branch, as soon as one is done, they're itching for the next one. So those in the Strathroy and Dorchester branch are scheduled there.
Thank you, Lindsay. Is there any questions with respect to that report? Go ahead, Sharon.
Just a couple of things. The pool passes, this is the first I've heard of it for Dorchester. So you're working with recreational staff to order to put that together? I think that's fabulous. And then the other thing that I just want to comment, I'm really glad to see the Tails and Trails. I walk my dog through the park in the summer months, and well, he does his thing. I just sort of wander around and read the stories, and they're great. I'm really glad. I think it's a great addition to the park. So thank you.
Yeah, the question, I just got a comment if I could on Melbourne, Lindsay, because of a conversation I had with you, and but I understand that the party that contacted you is the lodge who owns the building, right? And I understand that you know, and I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but the staff member from Southwest Middlesex was not I don't want to use the word, but I'll say it, and forthcoming, bringing information with respect to having this repaired. And how long were we down at the library?
So this time we were closed for 2 weeks. I think it was just 2 full weeks because there's two open days every week. So it was 2 weeks. And then previously the public washroom was closed from like February until mid-April. So people could use the staff washroom in an emergency, obviously. It's even tinier than the public washroom and kind of off of our storage closet. So it wasn't ideal. But yeah, it was just 2 weeks, and I did just hear from the municipality today. I think it's a challenging relationship, right? Because it's 3 parties, and this is the only branch where that happens, where it's the municipality doesn't own the building. And then we're one step even further removed. So I think there's some work that we all need to do on communication. And this just kind of showed that was needed. So I think, hopefully this clears up this problem. It seems like they got a good fix and we're getting some new pipes in there. But I think it did bring to light that perhaps revisiting what our lease, the language is, because it hasn't been updated since the mid-90s. That might be something that we work on with the municipality. But we've got, there's some work there to be done, but I know we're all interested in working together.
Any other questions then at all? Okay, then we'll move on to the 6D Middlesex banner. Lucan Library hosts a poignant presentation on WW2 battlefields. 6E is Middlesex banner monthly book club brings readers together at Elsa Craig Library. 6F Canadian Federation of Libraries Association consultation on tariffs. 6G Spring 2025 Tales and Trails. 6H Middlesex Early On Calendar, May 2025. And 6I is Open Spaces Program, June 2025. 6J Early Childhood Development Screening Clinics. So there's no questions or comments on anything that I presented to that point. Then I'll look for a motion that item 6A to 6J be received for information. Moved by Brad, seconded by the warden. Further comments? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Any inquiries? Okay, seeing none, then we'll move on to item 8, which is new business. 8A, the next meeting. Sorry. 25th. Yeah. Our Tuesday, our next meeting will be Tuesday, June 25th, 2025, and that'll be virtual. Then we have on Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025, and Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. Any questions with those? Not, then I'll move on to item 9A, bylaw number 48, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of May 27th meeting of the library board, that this bylaw be given first and second reading. Moved by Ruth, seconded by Mary Gay. All in favor? It's carried. And then a motion that the bylaw be given third and final reading. Moved by Brad, seconded by Warden. All in favor? It's carried. Hey, there's no other business for the library. Then I look for a motion that the meeting be adjourned at 11 or 10:30? 11:30. Mover, Sharon McMillan, and second by Ruth. All in favor? Thank you.